Hello again, this is Bobby D, and I'm glad you joined me to watch this video of our trip to Athens, Greece. We are overlooking the city right there. Our taxi driver told us it had about 5 million people as we look from the roof of our hotel across the city. Here was the restaurant we ate at a lot. Name was Alexander the Great's restaurant. There's actually the dining area that's right on the property of the Grand Athens Hotel. Cheryl and I had soup there several times, and it was delicious. There's Alexander himself, the owner of the hotel, and very personable guy. Cheryl's resting a little bit before we get ready to hike up to the Acropolis. Before we see the Acropolis, though, here's the site of the first modern Olympics. You see one of the people in costume there. Well, I guess it may not be a costume. It's a uniform from the contemporary period of the Olympics in the late 1940s. The first Olympic Games in modern times. Well, Cheryl's out there walking across that courtyard just outside the Olympics, and here's one of the guards setting up a photo experience for another of the tourists. Very enjoyable to see this amphitheater where one of the very first Olympic Games
to the
was
right,
held.
we have three
I'll be
buildings
quiet while the
together,
guide speaks.
so-called Trilogy of Athens. First building with the statues is the Academy of Arts and Sciences, and the statues represent, well, to the right it is the statue representing the ancient god of music, and to the left it is the statue of the goddess of this city, goddess Athena. Next to the palace, next to the Academy of Arts and Sciences, is the first university built in Athens. The building with the pillars and the fresco on the walls, wall paintings, it is the first university. As for the third building in line, it is the National Library. All three buildings do remind us a lot of ancient temples because of how columns were used to decorate the buildings. They're built with marble, and then we have statues decorating the facade.
Well, now we're at the parking lot below the Acropolis, getting ready to walk through the olive orchard that surrounds this portion of the mountain on which the Acropolis was constructed. And you see the olive trees right there, and some of the folks that are walking up this very long and wide pathway that takes us up to the Acropolis.
And they start building on top of the hill temples. They dedicate them all not to Zeus, the father of the gods, but to Zeus's daughter, Athena, the goddess of wisdom. Now, in Greek mythology, Athena was born from Zeus's mind. Zeus woke up one day with a terrible headache. He was complaining about his head hurting. And then, because no one can cure the headache, one god had an idea. He was holding an axe in his hand, this other god. He says, if I hit Zeus's head with this axe, maybe I can make the headache go away.
Along our way, while we were walking up there, we came upon this older ruins that still exists, and they've added some seating area around it that is more modern. It's currently still used for outdoor concerts and events, and you see some of the scaffolding and the structures for holding of lights, and who knows what all else is there with the concerts and plays that might be done there. We're looking up at the Acropolis and a wall that was built at the top of the cliffs. I was surprised to know how many different temples were built up on top of this mountain. You're seeing some of them here as we walked across, and of course you still see the ruins and the rubble that's laying on the ground, but much of it has been restored, and they continue to do more. The front of the Acropolis, amazing to see that structure. And they're doing some refurbishing work and continuing to build it. And you see the front again in the background, and you see also the cliff from another view down in the city. This is a museum that has a lot of the artifacts that were discovered there. The Acropolis at night, and the next morning we are in the COVID testing area. We were the first ones to get there and had to wait until we got our tests before we could board the ship you see in the background. And we had to wear our masks most of the time, and got some nice tickets to go on some of the excursions. Here's the upper deck of the ship, and the swimming pools were there. The restaurant was up there, and we could buy snacks and foods. And Cheryl's favorite place is this spot right here, where you could buy all kinds of stuff. The hallway going down to our room was interesting for one factor. You see on the carpet there, it's hard to tell what it is, but that's actually little fish that are all going in one direction, except occasionally you see one headed the other way. Kind of strange. We had some special chocolate when we got into our stateroom, and I enjoyed it very much. Cheryl and I, as we got there, and by the time the ship was ready to leave, it was nighttime, so I got on the upper deck and was able to take some nighttime views of the city of Athens and some of the ships that were docked there. Getting ready to leave to see other of the Greek islands, and we'll have more videos of that coming up. We are grateful that you watched this. We hope you'd hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.